Okie dokie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and I have a little bit of news today. We're going to show off Volcanic Patron's Coffer and give you an opportunity really to talk about anything you want to talk about. And then we're going to head in game and play some Chiller Ravenloft. I am working on crafting up. I already crafted up my weapon. Now I'm working on the armor. We'll see what I do after that. But you're going to join me on this, but we're also going to do a shootout today between two popular figures in Dungeons & Dragons Online. This came to me right before I went live on the air, and I was like, yes. This is the week where we're going to pit Albereth and Bulwark and just see how that goes. See who wins. All right. But first I want to show off the Volcanic Patron's Coffer, so we're going to take a couple of minutes to do that. I am not currently wearing it. I would also say right before I went live on the air, someone randomly sends me an invite to run Reaper 10 Isle of Dread with them on this character, and I just want to say that there was a moment where I was like, ooh, should I? And then I was like, no, don't. That would be the worst idea ever. I am not equipped to be running Reaper 10, much less on camera on live stream all of a sudden. But maybe someday. Why my camera is a potato? How bad is my camera? It doesn't seem that bad to me. Oh. Seems okay to me. Not that it's great or anything, but, you know, it's alright. It's okay. Oh, this is the Great Axe, never mind. So I'm going to put the aura in there. Let's get the helmet on. And the cloak. There you go. And we also have the new mount, which I need to find. Oh, where is that now? Oh, whatever. Don't need it yet. I'm used to my flying carpet, and then this Phoenix pet here, too. You can find a whole bunch more information on ddo.com about it. How about I throw that page up on screens, just so we can go through all the details of the items really quickly. This is our latest Patron's Coffer, just debuted yesterday, and this runs through October 12th. It's called the Volcanic Patron's Coffer, and you can see it's got the steed and the cosmetic Great Axe and the helmet, the cloak, and the armor, along with the pet here. Also does come with account bank storage and character slots as well. Character bank storage. Sorry, not character slots, character bank storage. And you can just find this information yourself over on ddo.com. We're going to go in game and actually do that. But I did actually, let me do what I was going to do here. Let me call up my mount. Now, which one? That's the Fast Nightmare. There we go, Volcanic Steed. Okay, we will use the Volcanic Steed. I tend to like to go with my Magic Carpet. That's still my default, but this is looking pretty good today, so we're gonna do this. Before we go though, I did just want to do a quick inventory update. I showed off sort of my gear, so you kind of knew where I'm sitting last time. But I do have, you know, my weapon crafted up here at this point. The only piece that's left is I need a good one augment left. Or did I even do that? I guess we'll find out here in a second. But I've got all the slots filled, and yeah, I've got both two rubies in there, and so we're good on that. And then for my armor here, this is what I'm currently working on. This is just the base Gravekeepers that I just got started on. I put in the melancholic plating to start with, just to give myself a little bit better fortification, which is what, about 261% right now, and that's looking pretty good. The other piece then that I will put in with the Dolores is probably the +2 to tactics DCs, since this character does rely on tactics DCs for a whole bunch of things. I thought that would be a good one, although I considered doing the 2d6 sneak attack die instead. So I guess I'd be open to chat if people are like, no, don't go for the tactics DCs, do the sneak attack die. Well, you could probably convince me, but otherwise that's the plan. And then for the miserable slot, I don't currently have a good enough it's in the regular enhancement magical sheltering, and I believe that there's a slot for that as the accessory. So I'm going to get myself whatever the modern equivalent for MRR is to improve this character's MRR. You can see I also do have the Solar Gem of Double Strike put into this armor as well, along with the legendary Wrathborn Emerald. So that's kind of where we are today. The other piece, though, is my boots are still the same. I went through all my inventories and banks, and that's like, come on, you got a decent set of boots. Surely you've got something you can put on this character other than these boots, which I have on so I can get that 13% dodge, because that's the only place I have my dodge boost right now, and that does cap out this character's dodge. But you want to cap out your dodge, even if it's only 13%. And I've got other boots that are good for melee, but they all have properties that essentially mirror something else I've already got equipped. So I'm really in this weird position right now where I do not, in fact, have a good set of boots that I really want to wear. And so I'm just wearing this because I do, in fact, want that 13% dodge. So if I find another pair of boots, I'll need to sort the dodge situation, but otherwise, that's really about the only piece I have left. Last week I mentioned that I need some goggle slots. Well, I went back in and I did find, because I had sorted level 30 to 34, but I went down and lowered my level range on my min level. So I'm actually, even though they're only level 28, I found these, and that'll be good enough for this character. The main reason is the anger, because it gets me 3 more rages. But the Insight and the Intimidate don't hurt either. I just threw on the Topaz of Acid Resistance because I didn't have Acid Resistance slotted at that point. And the Strength does me nothing because I have higher Strength elsewhere. But that's where I'm currently sitting on the gear front on this character. And I'm working through the latest saga here, really to just get my ingredients. It's all about the ingredients, is really the plan. I was in the wilderness area, so I have enough of the bleak wires now, so that I don't have to worry about that part of it. But, yeah. So it's just about the ingredients at this point. I might need to do one more bleak wires run. We'll see. If I end up doing another item on this server, then I probably will. But otherwise, I am considering, because I've been playing this character now, working on getting their gear set up since the server merge. I think they're in a good place. The last thing, once I sort this final crafting and kind of little gear Tetris out, my main plan is to raid flag this character for a while and just let this character sit at level cap for a bit. And let this character perhaps run a bunch of raids, either on camera or off camera, and get this character raid flagged for a little bit. So I would then, I think, be in a position to swap over to probably Thrain is next, and really just do the same thing I'm just doing here, which is to just sort of sort through. Now this is kind of create a new normal. Now that I've gone from 8 worlds to 4, and I've got some gear consolidation. I want to make sure I've got a Kenneth Crafter on every world, and that they're in a decent place. And I have a character that's raid flagged on every server to the extent possible, and things like that. So that's really what I'm up to, outside of running new content on the live stream here for probably the foreseeable future, at least for a couple of years here, I would imagine. But we'll see. We'll see. This actually went pretty quick. This is now my main on Orion. Actually, was my main on Orion prior. Now that I think about it, but I have a couple other characters as well, and those characters then longer term are gonna get some past lives and what have you. Okay, we are going to do a little bit of questing here today, and like I said, there's been a simmering debate that I've had for years now on the Fridays at 4 show and elsewhere, and that is Bulwark is the best cleric and Albereth is not, except that a lot of people disagree with me and say, in fact, the opposite is true, that Albereth is better than Bulwark. So we can't have an epic rap battle, but we can have an epic heal battle. So epic heal battle, Albereth versus Bulwark. Let's go. Let's see what happens here. Well, okay. I'm also besmirching the profession of Albereth, who is in fact a favored soul, not even a cleric. You're right. I mean, yes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Maybe.
Investigate the elevator. Power has been cut from all levels, aside from the entrance floor. You'll need to find a way to restore power to each level.
Albereth is more useful. Bulwark has better healing AI. I'm willing to listen to your argument. Okay, okay. I can support that. I think I could support what you're saying. This one you just want to remember that it's the blue is the red diamond. It will come in handy later. Kareneth would like to see your manager. Well, no, I'm not saying there aren't other contenders. Although for me, it's been Team Bulwark for years now. It's probably, I mean, you know, I get free points, and I spend most of them on Bulwark. I think Bulwark has been the recipient of Cordovan's generosity, probably more than any other object in Dungeons and Dragons Online. Because I always got a Bulwark going, and, you know.
2 wheels dotted with runes are propped up against this wall. A yellow crystal between them matches the one above the door nearby. Both wheels click into place, and the yellow crystal...
Well, we're talking about healing here. So, like, Larafay, sure, Larafay's awesome, but you're not going to have Larafay heal you in a legendary raid. I mean, you're not going to have Larafay heal you ever, but, you know. That's not who you're... Well, actually, you can't do hirelings and raids anyway, but you know what I'm talking... Okay, re-pretend this. You're not bringing... Well, maybe you are bringing Larafay. I seem to be undercutting my own argument here. So, I find the main thing is Bulwark is just a little bit better at healing. Also, I should also be... Get rid of these servitors before you attack other stuff. That would be the other thing I would say. Oh, wait a second. Albereth is dead? Who raised Albereth here? That was very nice of you, Bulwark, to raise your rival. That's like letting them guest on your album or something like that, I guess. But... Yes, well, do I have any news today? I did sort of get goofy right away, didn't I? That's what happens when I roll with the flow. Let me double check. But I did show off the Volcanic pack, and that really is the main piece of news. We have a double Commendations of Valor bonus going through the weekend. We are working on a patch for... Oh, you know, I do have one piece of news for sure. As expected, probably, Night Revels is ready to debut next Wednesday. So Night Revels is not going to be new this year. We do not have new questing or anything. It's the same quest list as 2024. However, we do have 4 new items that are going to be added to the reward list. And those items are the Yellow Reaper horse. Well, it's being described as a Yellow Reaper horse, so I don't know what that means. And then the Witch's robe, but a color variant in purple, that with a matching hat and cloak. So a purple wizard's robe and a new... It sounds like a new mount. Oh, I only bring out my door picker for a go. Giving out a Quiver of Alacrity with an augment slot would be a very popular decision for Night Revels. I'll spike those numbers, but probably not, I'm sorry. So yes, only cosmetics this year for Night Revels. Now this is in addition to everything else. You know, Night Revels has one of the more robust reward lists that, yeah, I guess I would probably argue has remained relevant in many cases. There's still, if you don't have Night Revels stuff, you still maybe want Night Revels stuff. So it has a pretty good reward list on top of the new. But the new will really just be another chance to get last year's if you didn't get that. Last year also did debut a brand new dungeon, so that'll be back this year, and that's going to be good as well. But it really is otherwise well, it's a request we've had for a while, really, to do variations on the Witch's robe, and this is another variation of that in a purple, which is a Night Revels-ish color that we use for things, so... At some point, there will be a new tier of existing weapons, but it's not going to happen. Not going to happen for a while. I would expect not until the very least, because they're generally level bands of 4, and they go up to 32 currently, if I recall. So that would be no sooner than us hitting level 36, and I would imagine that once you first hit level 36. You probably want to itemize that through whatever expansion or whatever would probably be associated with said content, rather than an easy, repeatable farming event. So it might be a year or two before we would want to actually put a whole bunch of level 36 gear that's awesome, that you could actually get from Night Revels. But, yeah, eventually, for sure. In the same way that level 32 did eventually arrive for Night Revels. Some of the weapons don't have level 32. It's okay. Sorry about that. I misspoke then. But I know at least some of this stuff did, didn't it? Because wasn't that 2023, 4? It wasn't last year, was it? So 2 years ago? I have to admit, the other big piece of gear I'm kind of waiting on is I don't have very good lunar augments on this character. I really just don't. I don't have anything to put in these lunar slots. And that's something I'm really hoping to figure out at some point here. Updating Larafay to legendary levels? I mean, I could pass the suggestion along, I guess is how I would describe that. A chance of Night Revel's gear being, quote, replaced with a crafting system. I mean, Night Rebels is an ingredient acquisition kind of style crafting system that's pretty in line with many of our event-based crafting systems. So I guess I'm not quite sure what the question's getting at. Oh, maybe I do know what you're getting at. You know, perhaps something that's a little bit more, frankly, like this Chill of Ravenloft loot crafting system where you're just assigning affixes and things of that nature to gear. That is not really where Night Revels started nor has gone with its rewards to date, but perhaps. But just spooky themed effects. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. You know, you want to be careful making subjective judgments if you're myself. But I would say, I still get a lot of use out of Night Revels. I still run Night Revels every year, and I still think the stuff is quite useful. So, I am in no danger of feeling like the Night Revels loot needs to be burned to the ground and rebuilt. So I guess that's what I'd say. It is a cool idea. And if the time comes where it makes sense to do perhaps a more radical revision of the loot system for Night Revels, that sounds cool to me. But otherwise, perhaps energies might be spent elsewhere. I would also point out that Night Revels did, in fact, part of the reason why it's not getting new quests this year, not a rotation of quests, and why it is ultimately getting some perhaps easier to produce updated variant rewards. It's because the people who do that work have been working on a number of other projects, up to and including some of the game performance and lag reduction work that went out this week. A lot of work, obviously, on Chill of Ravenloft loot, which, you know, isn't that old at this point, just a few weeks old, really. So, they were focusing on that. In addition, we've got our upcoming sort of Fae-style event, which needs some itemization, and that's on the agenda as well. That we'll be hearing more about pretty soon, I think. And just other projects. So ultimately, this particular fall, something kind of had to give, and more extensive work on Night Revels was one of the things that ultimately we decided to... was one of the things that would have to not happen this year. I do like the idea, though, of a whole bunch of, like, spooky effects and things, because you could always just add new effects to the base loot and everything like that. Although, yeah, say, I do like our Night Revels loot already, so I would not want to see it gone. Okay, so I did talk about... the other bit I could talk a little bit about in terms of news is our Ghost Worlds. One of the questions that I've been getting, really, for several weeks now is, hey, when on Ghost Worlds? You know, when are we actually doing this stuff? And the answer is pretty soon. There has been a bunch of work done this week to get the worlds testable and ready to go. There is a lot of work to do yet on it, so I can't make a promise. It is in the middle of some level of QA testing. We're working on exactly what it means to be a ghost world. I did work on an article this week that really outlines sort of what you can and can't do. And the answer is, though, you can do anything that isn't gameplay related, really. Like, you can go to the bank, go to your airship, you know, you can do stuff. But you can't quest, you can't pick up rewards, or if you can, go for it. But A lot of NPCs are going to be disabled, things like that. The idea is to get you off that world. You're not here to hang on the 32-bit world. This just lets you log in, sort your stuff, pack, and get out. And that's really the purpose of it. So some of that article writing is underway. I think one of the pieces we are going to do is there will not be character creation on these ghost worlds. There really should be no need for it. And if we need to, it may be something we can do in the future. But otherwise, what we're trying to do is from a bunch of kind of standpoints, make it something that we can sustain for the couple of years that it needs to run. Okay. So when you see me click on this is the legendary Severed Tentacle. I like it for the Titan's Grip, because it just gives me an extra 3 damage from that strength for 1 minute at a time. And then usually while I'm just doing this kind of thing, I got my Might in order for my extra damage and DC stuff, and then I pop the Action Boost Haste as well. And that's what I do until I run out of that. And then usually when I run out of that, or if I need a little bit more innate self-healing, I will pop over into my Rages. The reason once I swap over to Rages, though, I lose my Stalwart defense benefits. I have to toggle it back on when my Rage wears off. And so I kind of go back and forth based on what I want to do at this time with this character. And I usually use up my haste boost and stuff first, because I just like it. So, work being done on stuck characters and any other of the host of remaining transfer-related issues will be part of the process that we're just continuing to do. Whether it's identifying, say, characters with item ID conflicts and then having an engineer go and decoupling those item IDs, or finding ways to programmatically sort of adjust and append things. It all depends on the nature of the issue. For some people, for example, there have been a couple of reports over the years where people were able to transfer a character, for example, and then a copy of that character stayed behind on the old game world. And some of those people have found themselves with particularly challenging item ID conflict issues, or other related conflict issues, because they're trying to use 2 characters at the same time. But there's, say, several dozen piles like that of particular issues that need to be addressed through various external means, or perhaps as a group batch effort or something on the part of customer support. And all that work is continuing and will just roll along as normal when the Ghost Worlds open. However, to the extent that the Ghost Worlds need to be open for certain things to be run, and certain actions to be taken, and certain characters to be able to be accessed, whether by an engineer or CS, then yeah, that'll be part of the work that'll go on. But in a lot of those kind of cases, that isn't currently necessary. Whether the world is open doesn't really matter. They can always import them into some kind of internal environment anyway, which is often what would be done. You're not typically doing the actual work on a live game world. Well, sometimes you are. Depends. It's a good question to ask about the transfer-related store codes. I do not believe that we are intending to bring back those codes for the Ghost Worlds. You know, people had their chance. But some feedback I can certainly bring up.
The disembodied brain of Baron von Auerbrecher to rest. Hopefully, for the pulling this lever has restored power to the experiment floor.
We're using the term Ghost Worlds really both internally and externally to differentiate it from...
Access to this level from the stairwell is locked. The door
sorry,
requires
what I was going to say. To differentiate it from a dark world. And a dark world is a world where you can't log in, whereas Ghost World you can log in.
Another rune on this elevator has been powered. You can now access the next floor. You step out of the elevator and onto the experiment floor.
Oh, so the other piece is we are doing that work on Ghost Worlds. So if everything goes well, we could have some news within the next couple of weeks about them perhaps opening. We'll have that article in place. You know, I worked on that article this week so that we have something we can publish whenever the worlds are ready. I would expect it to end up needing a little bit of work before it actually goes live, because the information is sort of based on what we know now. But the point is, we're getting close. We're getting close to reopening the Ghost Worlds on the Dungeons & Dragons online side and the Dark Worlds on the Lord of the Rings online side. And once we have more information to share on both of those things, it'll get announced. Could be within the next few weeks. We'll see. We will see. It's funny, ever since that thank you thing got discovered briefly and then disabled, people have been saying, hey, when's thank you coming back? And I keep telling everyone, I get why you're calling it that, because it's just the name of what you're calling it, is not going to be thank you 2025, I assure you. That will not be the coupon code. So, try to type in thank you 2025. It will not work, I promise you, at any point during this promotional process. Perhaps it never will again.
When you pull this lever, a green signal crystal lights up, unlocking the door to the north of the elevator.
We've learned our... well...
Time to close eyes and dream of pigs.
We've been presented with the opportunity to learn a lesson there. Crystal Cove is not likely to come back until we solve the lag performance work. Now, I will say, a big part of that went in this week, did it not? Because one of the other pieces of news from the week is the release of Update 75.4. This corrected an issue with hireling pathing that was pretty significant. This fixed an issue with the ability to, in some cases, summon a large number of hirelings, which was putting huge stress on the game world. We also have frills and rocks work that was done on Isle of Dread and Myth Draenor, follow up to that, and some other things as well. So we did have some performance work go in. We're very keen to see how things go this weekend, and hope that things go well. But we'll see either way, won't we?
Various types of lab equipment are scattered throughout.
And once we're in a position to be able to feel like we have made enough progress on game performance, is when we'll hear a lot more about things like the return of any coupon codes that might have slipped out earlier or something like that. But it's also, we wouldn't want to do Crystal Cove while that investigative and deployment work is taking place, because we know Crystal Cove has historically had some impact on game performance, and we want to make sure that now's not the time, essentially, to do it. So, okay, this is gonna have to go. What am I doing? What am I doing? It goes to the right here, and it loops around. That's what I'm doing. No. Except it has to come in this way. So, it comes in that way. Boink, boink. This will be over. No, this isn't over. This way. And we had said that, was it a week or two ago now? And I know it's led to some discussion on the forums. But it's true. We want to make sure that, you know, while we're in the middle of the game performance work, we're not going to bring in Crystal Cove. We know that the mining, the kobold pathing, can be difficult during rough game performance conditions, and so it probably wouldn't have worked particularly well had we brought it back. Okie dokie. We are ready to go.
You solved the puzzle, allowing a door on the far side of this room to open.
So, free transfers from 64-bit worlds to other 64-bit worlds is something that we do intend to do here in the future. Next will be the reopening of Ghost Worlds. After that, we can take a look at the 64-bit to 64-bit transfers. There are some considerations we're going to have to deal with, right? Do we want to offer another round of free transfers with the understanding that it will operate just like it did last time, meaning you must pack and transfer and unpack? Or do we want, does the community want us to create a system whereby which you can leave more easily some kind of things on one 64-bit game world so that they can bring some but not everything to another? And those are some pretty big questions that are going to take a huge amount of work to sort through should we go in certain directions. So that's where we are today.
When you walk through this door, you find yourself just down the hall from the place where you defeated the Baron. You use the iron key to unlock the door in the stairwell to the east. It leads to the living quarters. This door is locked, preventing access to the rest of this floor.
But you say that, but then if you do a situation where you, quote, don't make them pack, that means also, remember, the reincarnation cache will not transfer, and a whole bunch of other things won't transfer. That's why that packing exists. However, it is not possible to pack without it also impacting
Beside it, you see a lever marked with 2 dark runes.
All those segments. If we want to have it available, say, while also transferring from a ghost world. So there's a bunch of questions that we basically need to sort through here, and we don't have those answers today, but they're questions that we're working through. And one option is, because this is, after all, remember, not to facilitate you spreading out your gear, but only to facilitate you transferring from, quote, the wrong world that you accidentally found yourself on to a new one. So if you really want to be hardcore about it and be like, well, that's what this free transfer stuff is about, then it makes perhaps more sense to be able to just offer, require packing and make it a normal transfer like now, and then get that work done so that people can actually do the work they want to do if they found themselves on the wrong world. But if we also want to add to that feature set, essentially, by allowing people to get more granular with their transfers, then that is going to be some amount of discussion and work that may need to be done. Uh-oh, I don't remember the passcode. It's, 845. Oh, let's see if my 8, 4, 5, 3, 2, 5. Oops, nope. Oh, well, that's good, though.
After deactivating all the buttons, the lever on the right of the room clicks unlock.
I think I literally just spoke about the content code coming back.
Power to the elevator, granting you access to the living quarters.
Check the wrong way. What am I doing? Okay, think. No, that's not. Oh. Oh. I went the wrong way. I need to go back. I need to go back. That's what I need to do. I was on. There we go. Quarters. Yes, I would say it is very likely that we will be seeing this coupon code within weeks. But we do have work that needs to be done before we can do that. Up to and including having a good sense of how things look this weekend related to the game performance work that we did this week. So we too will be very keen to see how things go. I will say that my own personal experience has been quite positive, and I know that, oh, did I set some people off on the forums last week when I said that. And I'm not trying to minimize anyone's experience or anything, but I would just say that my own personal experience, if you say, hey Jerry, how's lag been this week? I'd say it's been good for me. And that is accurate, so especially since the work that we did, specifically, is what I mean. I have been playing, typically, sometime between about 9 p.m. and midnight Eastern time. As I'm usually, often sometimes work until about 7 or 8 or so, and get dinner, do whatever I need to do around the house and things, and then sit down and get some things in, so... Now, if you had asked me, did I have lag last week? Well, yeah. Did I have lag last weekend? Yeah. I mean, no one's claiming that wasn't true. But we are specifically, because we did it a lot of work this week, following up from last week's striping and other work that took place, we want to know what the performance footprint looks like over the weekend too. And then based on the results of that, we'll help determine what's next. I don't think so. I don't think there's much of a chance for the old Maybar, the Endless Night Dragon Raid to come back. I think that is probably gone for good. So Maybar, I know that a lot of people, there have been some on the forums who have been talking about game performance related to Maybar. I would note that the work we did in recent years related to the Night Rebels event has significantly improved the game performance footprint of that event. So that is in part why Night Rebels is starting next week, is that we know, based on the work we've done over the years, to improve its game performance footprint. We have a pretty good sense of where Night Rebels sits.
All the rooms on the elevator have been lit. Now you can travel freely between all floors in the castle. You've arrived at the top floor of the castle.
I mean, to the extent that I've been playing with some hirelings, there is some truth to that up until Wednesday's patch, right? Because you play with a bunch of hirelings, you were causing yourself some issues that we were able to resolve this week.
Anybody out there? This is a great time for ambush.
Is there a list of DDO content creators accepted into the program? You will hear from the content creators themselves. So. But we don't have, say, a public list to date. That work did happen, though, over the past week and a half. So we've onboarded something in the range of a couple of dozen creators. We also brought in the DDO stream team into the program because it makes sense to... This is about the content creators, but it's also about the infrastructure, right? This is about using Sidekick and things to help manage external relationships.
Elise, you've returned. Care to explain the rabble
So,
with you?
and they got volcanic coffers here this past week, getting them set up with a whole bunch of codes. October 1st, they're gonna get stuff as outlined in the program. So, and we're gonna be bringing on some more creators too. I've got a to-do list item for the coming weeks of bringing in another half dozen or so that we just didn't have time to review before getting this first batch out.
Unless you found a way. Auerbach! I knew I should have gotten rid of him permanently.
I'm sorry, Victra. Neither of us is leaving this room alive.
It's a little less round-based and more of an always-on in terms of the content creator program. We're not so much doing like, alright, round one, these people get in. I mean, it is that way, because ultimately I have to create a spreadsheet, bounce it off through CS and other people to do all the work we need to do before we can accept an invitation, or, you know, say yes or no or whatever. So in that respect, it's rounds. But in a practical sense, it's just when we have stuff. When there are creators who apply, when we've got time, we'll be bringing them in batches, long term. So there's never not a time to apply. If you're a content creator that feel you meet the criteria. We have, for the remainder of this year, Night Revels, the sort of Fae-themed event that you're going to hear a lot more about. We do have a plan for a December game update. It'll probably be something like what we've done in the past, where we have some kind of free content drop in December. That's something that we've done pretty regularly at this point. Oop, Bulwark went down, but not Albereth on this one, so last I checked, I think our healers are 1-1 in terms of dying. Although I will notice that... no, I guess he is going to bring Albereth, she, rather, will actually bring Bulwark back, so... So yeah, we'll have a December update as well. And then, you know, next year is our 20th, so we want to do some, something pretty fancy for our 20th anniversary, so you'll probably hear a lot more about that next year, obviously. And a bunch of planning related to that, so, you know, in some ways you're always working ahead in an operation like this, right, so... I need to try to bring this guy out a little bit. I don't want to fight him there. So this will be an example where by the end of this fight, I'm likely to be moving into my barbarian rages instead. Oops. Go. I remember, for a long time, we had adamantly believed that no beneficial property should belong on a quiver. I remember way back in the day. Because it was not an itemizable gear slot, and it would remain so forever. And then we brought out the Quiver of Alacrity. Now everyone's like, oh yeah, that's not, no, that's not power creep. That's not power creep. That's all good. We want more of that. But as a result, we have, a couple other quivers over the years that serve some similar purpose. Now a quiver with an XP boost. That's a good idea. I like that idea. Basically have it be a replacement for the Master's Gift or Augment. Although, not that that needs replacing. It won't be the Year of the Dragon event, as in like a formal repeat of the Year of the Dragon, but, we have our 20th anniversary coming up next year, and we've got some plans for how we want to celebrate. And we'll hear a lot more about that next year. But the idea of doing a kind of another Year of the Dragon-like thing, I'm sure at some point in the future we will. It was a lot of work. It ended up, that whole Year of the Dragon trying to commit and bring it into the development schedule all year long and deal with all the, impact of doing such things. It's not exactly tiny, but, oops.
Maybe somebody find you. Take you into the shiny.
Oh, almost. Darn it. Almost went through the day without dying.
You reach the top floor of this tower. Victra glares at you.
You've overcome my challenges. So be it. It is time for you to die.
I am liking this item. It took me a couple of hours to kind of fall into liking this item a bit, because I was really enjoying it. It turns out the legendary Bloody Cleaver is not a terrible choice in this particular piece of content, because of all these humans and stuff. It was kind of tearing through people real good. But I'm liking this better now that I've got it all rubied up and everything.
Compared to the everlasting life of the unbreakable heart.
I said it's over, Victra. I meant it. Elise runs at Victra, and both plummet over the side.
I mean, yeah, I guess a lot of people do have the Master's Gift and such at this point.
Victra lies motionless in the snow, with Elise beside her. I'd back up if I were
I mean, next year is going to be our 20th anniversary. So, whatever we end up doing to celebrate our 20th anniversary will be 20th anniversary related. How many MMOs, how many games get to be in our position of celebrating our 20th anniversary, right? And that is something that we are be a big part of
There is an
2026, I
explosion
would
of
expect.
heat and light. And they are gone, with Victor Mordenheim dead and the unbreakable heart destroyed. Lemordia will return to a more hospitable state. Only time will tell whether the country will recover. But you can only hope that Elise's dream of a better world will overcome the realm's dark past.
I've heard plans. I could squee a whole bunch about what I've heard about the anniversary event, but I because we're in the midst of either doing the work or doing the final planning for the work, or at least figuring out what we're going to be doing at this point. And it's pretty exciting. We have some cool stuff that we have planned for our 20th anniversary. I have only died in quests with no enemies a couple of times. Because there's the one time I took off the con item, that much I know. Oh, and there's the time I got blown up by all the boxes when I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, okay.
The effects of the blizzard on the zoological gardens are still apparent. Huge snowdrifts fill the cages and block doorways.
Oh, I don't need that.
A pack of strange creatures bursts into the courtyard, shouting for food.
I hope you've been enjoying the Chill the Ravenloft. I myself have been. I've been running the saga a bunch, I guess half dozen times or more at this point. And got all my, as you can see, I got all my explorers and rares and such taken care of in the wilderness, and that's looking pretty good. And I'm working on crafting it up. I have found that I'm generally looking about a saga per augment. About. I guess maybe with a little bit, with like about 15% left over, 15-20% left over maybe. I've been doing about one saga per augment. And then, you know, you got to get the bleak wires, so a little bit of that work. But then that also gets you some of the other stuff, so it's kind of...
The zoo's automatic feeding system has broken down. If you don't repair it, the remaining animals will slowly starve to death.
I am not using the voice of the timid. What am I using? I am using... Oh, the kobold. That's who I've got on this one, right? Kobold is probably the one I use the most. Because I just like it. But I do have one other that I'm using. I don't remember now. Oh, the lizard. The lizard folk sentient gem I've got on a character as well. But yeah, I'm just using the kobold. I am sure that we will have more sentient gems in the future. I know of at least one that that will arrive at some point in the future here. Yep, a hag-themed sentient gem has been a frequent request. An abbot-themed one has been a frequent request. Frankly, a Yalthun one has been a frequent request, even though we don't typically do specific character-based things like that.
Deep, desperate roars come from the nearby building. The lions roar hungrily when you enter the building. From their gaunt forms, you can tell they haven't eaten for some... This is a component part of a larger machine.
I would like a Lord of Stone sentient gem. I am full down for that. That sounds great. Heck yeah. And honestly, you could brainstorm up another 100 cool ideas for sentient gems. So I am sure that we will be seeing more again in the future. The largest cost to them is clearly the voice acting, and that isn't, in fact, particularly inexpensive. It's kind of spendy, but worth doing sometimes.
You hear a rattling sound up above, as if there is something in the air vents. The collapsed roof and blood-soaked snow show that something
Oh, there is something.
terrible
Oh,
has
just the
been
note is the only thing here. Okay. It's not that you couldn't get people to do it for free. It's that we really are, you know, we do pay professionals for voice acting. I mean, there have been lots of discussions over the years about other ways to do sentient gems. You know, the idea of locking it into a voice and then ultimately doing that. You could flip the script on that and basically do the opposite, where you just sort of slot in the voice to an item that already has all of its stuff. Somewhat detach the whole leveling up bit from the sentient gem part and just let the sentient gem be a cosmetic choice. And yeah, I'm just going a few minutes over, but I remember starting a few minutes late as well. And like I say, I'm item crafting, so we have got our weeks planned. It's been a busy couple of weeks, busy all year, really. It's been a crazy year. A Storm Reaver gem. Yeah, a slow Storm Reaver gem. Mm-hmm. It'd be like getting Treebeard to narrate a Lord of the Rings Online adventure. What I really don't know what I want to do is on Thrain. You know, originally this character was my healer type. This was one of my just sort of battle cleric builds. And then I swapped him over to be this Dragon Lord, and I'm really kind of liking where I am on this character, but then where does that leave our Mog on Thrain? Because the two characters are frankly pretty similar in build. Our Mog is more barbarian focused. But it's ultimately a pretty similar build, and so I want to do something different. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure whether just a respec is going to cut it, or whether I should just do a life on Thrain and get that done instead. I haven't really quite decided that yet. And then, you know, I'm going to need to do the gear work as well. Oh, no, that's not where I'm going. I am going this way. You know, one of the more frequent pieces of feedback we've seen on the Mia's temp DM is that perhaps other people should get a chance. So, maybe we don't need another Cordovan anything. I enjoy doing it, though. I love doing it. Every time I've been running these quests, I've been honored that I get to be a part of it. But I'm just saying, I'm not like gunning. It's not like my agent's pushing the team to have me do DM work. It just sort of works out that way sometimes. I don't have an agent. Yes, I do. My cat. My cat is my agent. Talk to Lizzie.
You found both of the components needed to repair the automated feeding machine. Judging from the broken glass and open air
Right.
vents,
Okay. So I just
something
need to.
escaped from this room.
I want to do. Actually, isn't there a secret door back here? Yes. Gotta get those ingredients. That's the single best thing that I like about this X-Pack, I think, is that we have all these crafting ingredients and all these optionals, because it totally has me doing every single optional that I can get these ingredients from. For farming reasons.
This building is hot and humid, much to your surprise. Apparently, the heaters in here didn't fail during the blizzard.
I have been enjoying this unbridled fury as well. It's been working out pretty good. I can sort of get cycled through all this. The one thing I keep forgetting to do is to pop that extra Titan's grip to get the +6 strength, +3 damage, right? So, doesn't hurt to do that. I was pondering that question myself, Glassjaws, this past week when I was looking at what we had in the DDO store related to augments. Perhaps it is time, is it not, to add +14 augments into the store, because you can get enough +14 items that it maybe doesn't feel... Maybe it feels less pay to win and a little more, can I just do it if I get stuck? But I don't know, I guess how would you feel about that, right? It's that when you clearly are saying do it, so... But I guess how would other people feel about +14 augments in the store? I don't know how many people would actually use it, because like I said, you get... I don't know, maybe. Flexibility's nice. Well, but then we do have still, because you have to upgrade to get those, make that +14, +15, so I don't know. Retaining it for gameplay doesn't seem too crazy to me. I don't know. I guess I clearly have mixed feelings on it. Which means that I don't need to worry about it. Besides, I don't need to worry about it anyway. I do what you want to do.
This device is designed to send food throughout the zoo using a series of pneumatic tubes. But the automatic feeding system is broken. Key components are clearly missing. You replace the components. The automated feeding system resembles...
As a matter of fact, this character, one of the things I will be able to do is bump up my strength a little bit. Right now I only have +14 strength item on. And I'm expecting at some point here I'm going to bump that up to plus 15 or 16 if I can do it, but plus 15 more likely. I am not a past lives grinder, so most of my characters have a handful of past lives, would be how I'd describe it. Always working to get more, though. Cycle continues. But I'm not, I don't, that's not what motivates me to play the game. Acquiring past lives is not really what motivates me. To the surprise of probably no one. But you do want to get yourself 36-point builds if you can do it. And it's certainly good, the more you can get, the better. So, the answer to my question of how many past lives do I want, as many as I can get. But I also have a pretty soft limit on how much working specifically toward past lives I'm willing to do. But I'm getting this character's gear in better place. I mean, you can just see every week here on the stream, it has in fact been getting a little better every week. When I started the running this character post-transfer, I was like, my gear was not right. And I had that pretty rough stream as a result. Looked back and saw I had level 32 gear on still. And so I've been kind of just working to get this character ready to be a played character frequently on this show on Shadowdale.
The slow process of rebuilding can begin.
All right. Well, we are going to call that a show here real quick before I do. Let's see where I'm sitting on my stuff. I don't see 50s. But like I say, I've got 114 bleak wires, and as far as I'm aware, only one more thing they're requiring it that I need. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to go through pretty much the Soul Saga here. But probably get all but done by that point, I would think. So, thank you so much for watching Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDOstream. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. It is the single best thing you can do to help us out. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Have fun.